The music is still on. Yes. Uh, Hello, guys. Hello, guys. Welcome back to another. My voice is echoing. Welcome back to another Qubit session. I'm Krish today, your Discord guy, and the host for today. And it's super weird. So I would like to welcome today's Qubit speaker, who is Kartikey Rawat, and he's going to take take the topic on keras code. And more about him is like he's the founder of OpInCo Community, a regional manager of CodeDay Durg, and organizer of TensorFlow Durg, organizer of Azure Dev Community as well. And he's also a GitHub Campus expert and a Gold MSL. Welcome.
Yeah, thanks, Krish, for the lovely intro. Maybe let's start. I didn't waste much more time, and let's get started, I guess. So yeah, maybe I guess I added the screen sharing, I guess. Yeah, sure, great. So yeah, let's talk about you can say Keras core and let's talk about Keras core. Yeah, let's get started. But before that, what is who I am actually, even though host actually did the amazing work, but like right now I'm an associate open source license at CodeDay. I'm basically working with the open source technologies right now. I'm a founder of my own local community called OpInCo Community, and I'm also an organizer at TFUG Durg. And you can connect me on my socials. You can see me at carrycooldude anywhere. Yeah. So let's deep dive into the more concise way, if I will say. Actually, let's go to the main root thing of machine learning, that is matrix multiplication. If you are a very newbie in machine learning, maybe this can feel very quite of dangerous to you maybe, but it is as simple as like y is equal to mx plus c. It is nothing there actually. And here, just if you will see, it's like a version of y is equal to mx plus c. And this, you didn't have to go in depth of everything right now. But yeah, so what about the updates actually? If in your lifetime you ever use TensorFlow, you know it's kind of thing seem to like this kind of thing, if you will say. And talking more about it, you can basically tweak. It's just like a framework, like how it is React, but it's more focused on, you can say, computational power, you can say, like how, or you can say numerical computation, if I will be more precise over there. Cool. So I'm just going to the major thing about the updating and loss kind of thing, basically, how we can do this. And let me go to the more focus on the atomic differentiation. Is a general normal differentiation. It's just like doing differentiation in the graph automatically. That's the major thing. And that's what the concept called TF dot gradient tape came into play over that period of time. And more to it, if I will say, it's major. The whole purpose of Keras is to give an unfair advantage to any developer looking to ship machine learning powered apps, to make it more accessible to machine learning, if I will say, to everyone in a developer ecosystem, if I will say. So Keras focuses on debugging the speed, code elegance, conciseness, maintainability, and deployability, basically. When you choose Keras, your code base is smaller, more readable, and easier to iterate on. And your model runs faster than to the XLA compilation or autograph optimization kind of thing. Yeah. Now, there's the some of the necessary thing that any machine learning engineer have to do. You have to do if you want to build a machine learning model, want to deploy it in a proper manner. First thing is necessary imports. You have to create the data pipelines. Then you have to construct the model. You have to compile it. You have to train it. And after that, you have to inference it just to test it, how quickly you get response from the machine learning model that may be deployed on your cloud, maybe on any cloud, you can say. Cool. So model compilation. So again, the major base thing behind it is how a model is compiling. So this is a simple way you can say model.compile is equal to optimizer equal to RMS prop, that is RMS propagation. You can say it's one of the optimizer that we will use, or like in general we use if we want to train a basic model, you can say in machine learning, right? This also one of the loss function called may, and some of the metrics, it can be accuracy, it can be loss kind of thing here. Cool. Now the basic thing how you can train a model, we use a function called fit function, where you're passing x parameter, y parameter, how many times you have to train that model. Epoch is the number of the, you can say in a better way, number of iteration you have to do. And callbacks, it is a part of, you can say more or like JS kind of thing, how much if you are basically getting a data in a how many callbacks, you can say you have to create a function for that callbacks, basically how many times you are getting it. Cool. Now, model inferences, model.predict, if I will say in a major thing, it's just to basically predict on the basis of how much data you are trained on it. And this is the basic model that we are going through around it. But what actually keras is bringing, it's a drop-in replacement for TensorFlow, even though TensorFlow is based out of keras. But right now, from TensorFlow import keras, now you can easily use import keras underscore core as keras. It is very, very make it easy for keras team. And as I'm also contributing to the project, so I pretty much know how it's totally working in and out. Now, what are the main advantages of Keras Core? Support for cross data pipelines, pre-trained models, that is out of the box integration with Keras NLP and Keras CV, progressive disclosure of complexity, introduces new stateless API for pure function programming, and you can say the last one is the distributed training as non-distributed training, you can say around that. Cool. So the second part, like the how you can basically check what is the need for atomic differentiation, right? So you can differentiate in a more better way in any way, you can say. Other than that, if I will say, it is major focus on how you are basically from point to point, how you're differentiating that part, right? That's really, really important. Why? Because make it just to make it ease the flow of how you're using the graph around that thing actually. That's a major focus behind it actually. Yep. Now, what is Keras core at the end of the day? So basically, it's a full rewrite of Keras, if I will say, and no technical debate on it. It's much more smaller code bases compared to Keras, or if I will say TensorFlow around that. Cool. It support multi backend, so that's the main focus behind why the whole Keras team is built around this overall scenario, if I will say. It support JAX, TensorFlow, PyTorch, and NumPy. So why it is the need of it? So suppose you have to run, or you're training model dot, like suppose we are giving for the three things. You are training, you are doing an inference, and you are doing a data pipeline. So suppose you are doing data pipeline on JAX, you can easily do that thing in a very swift manner. You can easily do data inference on TensorFlow, and you can easily do PyTorch and model training in PyTorch, and it's very, very easy. And basically NumPy mostly on the inference part, so you can say because it's a major thing on the backend sustainability part. So again, drop-in placement for tf.keras when using TensorFlow backend. So yeah, work seamlessly with Keras NLP and Keras CV. It's more focused, and if you buy the name, you can easily know Keras NLP means it's related to natural language processing, and CV means computer vision. It is like coherently working with around that. Cool. Now, this is the main thing that I'm got into, and again, I'm just saying repeatedly, major the model compilation, if I will say, or inference, if I will say. These are some of the processes that we are using right now. But let's go to the multi backend of Keras is back, because like again, as I stated everywhere, full rewrite of Keras, support in JAX, PyTorch, NumPy backends, and drop-in replacement around that. But now let's came to the main thing, how you can do that. If you're looking out around this code, you pretty much know we are using, again, it's a Keras core part of it. So what we are using, if you want to create a normal sequential part, right? In a very, very easy manner, you just have to run this file by using Python, and you can get in which format you have to using TensorFlow backend or PyTorch backend or JAX backend in any way, right? That's a major, you can say, funda of this whole rewrite of keras core, if I will say. Cool. Now, how you can evaluate that? So so what keras core did is like develop cross framework component with keras.ops. It's mean actually the whole operation, if you will say the kernel's part of whole keras, is obviously the part of operation, you can say operation kernels, if I will say. So it includes NumPy API, same function, same arguments. So you don't have to study documentation in a more deeper way, even if you ever use TensorFlow or PyTorch in your lifetime, maybe. Cool. Plus neural network specific function absent from NumPy. So this is what makes more over like ops or softmax or different, you can say, accuracy parameter, if I will say, it is present over there. Model, layers, losses, metrics, or optimizer written with Keras API work the same with any framework. So you can see how much smooth it is if you want to transition from TensorFlow backend to PyTorch backend to NumPy backend or JAX backend also. Cool. Now, what actually Keras also did it, so it developed a custom component that works with any framework. Major the whole limelight of the whole thing, how you can anything you can use with different backends. So let's take an example over here. I imported Keras core as Keras, and again a Keras core to import ops operation, basically ops part. So what I am doing, I create a class here. In this, I basically initiate, or if I will say, I write a constructor here. Basically, it's a basic thing that every initializer have to do. I create a function called call, in which I am basically passing the length and position and the vectors kind of thing and ID. And what actually doing, what I'm taking here, I am basically using this thing in using NumPy API. But sometimes people think like if ever you use TensorFlow PyTorch and you want to basically articulate around that thing, how it is using or not, you can get to an idea around there's so much issues while switching from one backend to another backend. So that's what Keras actually did here to make it more better. So it basically provides a seamless integration with the backend native workflows. Write a low-level JAX training loop to train a Keras model. It can possible. Write a low-level TensorFlow training model to train Keras model. This is another thing. So basically, what my main thing is, if you are writing anything maybe on TensorFlow backend, you can easily convert that thing into, you can say, Keras model, or you can say PyTorch model anyway. And this is also some of the example you can use in that. Like suppose in the last one, use a keras layer or a model as a part of torch.nn.module. That means you can use your keras layer to basically use that thing into PyTorch module also. So it is very seamless integration around that. You didn't have, so the concept behind is like many people think like it is general genre in machine learning community. We will see machine learning researcher only love PyTorch because of the simplicity it got, right? But maximum ML developers or any apart from ML researcher, maximum people use TensorFlow or JAX. Cool. So what is happening here actually? It is basically constructive part of basically switching from overlapping. Like suppose if any ML researcher writes something in PyTorch, an ML developer or anyone ML or ML engineer can easily switch that switch thing from basically converting to that PyTorch module to TensorFlow backend in a very seamless manner. So that's what basically gives power the whole what Keras core is bringing over there. Cool. Yep. So let's go in a more deeper way to understand how it's basically using. So write a custom training loop for Keras model. Again, the same thing. The left part is written in PyTorch and right part is written in TensorFlow. Let's compare both of it. Cool. So in the initial three lines is kind of same. What we are doing actually, we are basically creating, we are instantiating the function called get Keras core model that is happening in both. Optimizer, if you want to initiate optimizer in TensorFlow, you use keras.optimizer.atom. In PyTorch, you use torch.optim.atom, and same thing with the loss function kind of thing. Let's go into more deep understanding around PyTorch. They are creating a function. It is computing the loss, it's computing the gradients, and it is updating the weights according to their gradients point of view, right? On a binary side, or you can send the second part of the TensorFlow, if you will see on the function part, that is train setup, what actually we are doing, we are basically, you can say, more on site. Same thing happening, compute loss, compute gradient, update weights, right? Same thing on a PyTorch site, iterate over epoch. So why I'm comparing, you can write a custom training loop for keras model in any backend, if I will say, which is present over there right now. Cool. So progressive disclosure for complexity. Just start simple, then gradually gain the arbitrary flexibility by opening the box. So example, it can be like you are training a model. Cool. What generally we do? We firstly fit the model, then we use callbacks to make it more better. Then we use custom training step and custom training loop. Or we can say while building a model building, you can say when we firstly go sequential, then we go functional, and then functional with custom layers and subclass model. That's how a machine learning models built out of. You can say it's a design of it. So which makes Keras suitable for student and for VMO engineers. That means those who are doing machine learning in a depth manner, you can say. It is very easy to convert back and forth. You can say you can easily do a back and forth part of it in this one. Cool. Let's just compare again, customizing the how you can customize your model.fit in PyTorch and TensorFlow. So in left hand part, you can see I create a class called custom train model. Okay. And I basically created again a constructor over there in the main function train.setup. If you will see and compare both PyTorch and TensorFlow simultaneously, you will see in the left part that is self.zero_grad and loss.backward. Again, I can easily switch these things from that function. Just I have to change the backend of both at the end of the day. Nothing I have to change it. If I can suppose if I store a model train, or you can say .h5 of after the training of model at the model.h5 kind of thing, I can directly use that PyTorch model into TensorFlow model by using just backend thing, just to change the backend part of it. So that's the cool part of it, if I will say. Same thing, like just I'm just calling a model again, custom trained model, using calling the class and creating an object around that, as simple as it is. If you're saying that, cool. Now, pre-trained model. So Keras core includes all Keras application, that is popular image classifier, Keras CV and Keras NLP work out of the box with Keras core and all, and backend as of the latest releases. So YOLO V8, Whisperbird, Opt, and etc. There are many, or we are adding around that. So this is going on. Now, why Keras core? Firstly, I pointed out different things, and just to bring it more on a brief part of it. So it maximizes the performance, because again, generally when we say what is the best framework, then first we go JAX, then TensorFlow, then PyTorch. And TensorFlow is all, it's like an Apple ecosystem, because in TensorFlow everything is present and easily integrable. So, but in terms of performance kind of thing, I will say Jax is more, even though I didn't elaborate more on Jax part, but Jax is little doing amazing work in that part. Maximizing the available ecosystem surface. So export your model to tf.shape model. You can directly convert to tflite, tf.js, tf-serving, and tf-mod, etc. Instantiate your model as a PyTorch model and use it in a PyTorch ecosystem. As simple as I already shared with you all. Call your model as a stateless JAX function, use it with a JAX transform basically, right? And maximize the addressable market for our open source model release. That means PyTorch, TensorFlow have only 40 to 60% of market each. So which makes Keras model usable by anyone with no framework lock-in, if I will say. Like it is very back and forth is very easy between TensorFlow and PyTorch, if I will say. Maximize the data source availability. That means use tf.data, PyTorch data, and these kind of function with any backend, you can say. So it gives the data source availability around that. Now, Keras equal to future-proof stability. So if you were a Theano user in 2016, you had to migrate to TF1. But if you are a Keras user on the top of Theano, you have got TF1 yearly for free, right? So again, if you were TensorFlow 1 user in 2019, you have to migrate to TensorFlow 2. That is simple, like as usual, if I will say. But if you are a Keras user on top of TF1, you got TF2 nearly for free. Same, if you're using Keras on the top of TensorFlow 2 in 2023, you get JAX and PyTorch support nearly for free, and so on. That's what how the frameworks are transitioned, and Keras is your rock. Basically, at every stage, Keras is the foundation or the backbone of any framework out there. in ML ecosystem, if I will say. So that's a part of it. And right now, more question. Is there any question? And I can basically share with it. And let me know, is there any question you are having, so I can catch up with you all. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, we have some questions from the community. Like the first question is how it is different from TensorFlow. Like
It is
you
not
just
different from
showed.
TensorFlow, actually. It is not different from TensorFlow, Krish. It's like TensorFlow is built on top of Keras. TensorFlow is Keras only, if I will say. But
It's
to
built
make it
on.
more, so what Keras team actually did, it basically converted the whole thing into a more, because some people's using PyTorch, like, and some people using TensorFlow. So suppose any PyTorch machine engineer send something related, some trained the model on PyTorch and send it to that person, but he's not a PyTorch user, he's a TensorFlow user. So how he basically run that thing on their system or able to run that? So Keras core team, what is that? They rewrite the whole Keras thing. Keras core thing, it's a like kind of a new team, you can say. It's a part of Google team only, but they rewrite the whole thing, and you can easily change from any backend, from maybe TensorFlow to PyTorch to JAX or maybe to NumPy also. So yeah, that's the answer. Yeah.
Okay, we have some questions from the community from the YouTube comments. So the first question
Okay.
is like, when can we run the PyTorch on phone?
Yeah, obviously, but again, are you saying for the application part of it or the code part of it? Obviously, code you have to do on collab kind of thing. If your system is not that supportive around that, but yeah, you can run it, but you can run the application, I will say, not the whole. You can did something like go to the collab thing, and you can say import the model, and you can directly use it on that on a more like how
So
it basically run TF light TF.light actually. Yeah,
yeah, so it is supported on multiple platforms like mobile and desktop.
yeah.
Yep. So there's another question. What is your call on rapid generation AI development if someone wants to work in the AI field without working directly in the ML? For example, Notion AI only uses the Open AI API. What call on that dev?
So, yeah, you can create business out of it, but from my perspective, it's not a good thing to play in a long term thing, because again, you are basically building anything from on the top of Chat or you can say you can say Open AI basically development thing, right? So I see a lot of you can say micro entrepreneurs who basically building a small, maybe you can say. Productive tool kind of thing on the top of open AI APIs, if I will say. But from me, if you are a really a ML engineer from heart, or you want to go in depth of ML wala kind of part, then I will say please do not focus on. Yeah, you can make a side project kind of thing for the fun kind of thing, or maybe make a smaller business out of it by basically if you're building any tool on top of OpenAI APIs, go for it. You can do it for a micro level, but from a long perspective thing, you're not able to learn, because what you are not an ML engineer in OpenAI. By just calling an API is not ML engineering. Obviously, you are not doing obviously ML. Yeah, if you're not interested in ML and just using for that just as a developer point of view, then it is great. You can do that. Obviously, you can do that. But if you are a very
Yeah.
keen towards ML, then you can do that. Yeah.
So, like using the Open API is someone who is not looking to build a career in the ML field but wants to use that functionality of ML in his project. So, like, I guess that's the
Yeah.
thing. So, the next question is like, how different is Keras from OpenCV?
So OpenCV is another library out of it. Okay, it is major starting when it's OpenCV started off. It's started for computer vision. Cool. You can say in a more better way, convolutional neural network actually. But right now, if you will compare with it, maximum people, the maximum Python developers is using OpenCV. But right now the point is, if you want to switch, again the same concept came into play. If you OpenCV is not, OpenCV is open to OpenCV.js, but I don't know about the mobile devices kind of thing. Same thing, contrary with the TensorFlow thing. TensorFlow gives you TensorFlow.js, TensorFlow Lite. You can say run also on Raspberry Pi kind of thing, and there's a lot of space. That's why I'm saying TensorFlow is like Apple ecosystem. It has everything. Without TensorFlow, you can't. I am not saying you can't do machine learning, but it makes your life cycle of doing machine learning very easy as compared to other thing, if I will say. So yeah, you can use, obviously, when in my freshman year I use OpenCV. I actually participated in one of the hackathon called from from IIT Bombay called Yantra, which is basically on the image processing kind of thing. So you can obviously try it out, but I just don't rely on that much. So yeah.
Okay, so the next question, I guess Krish has a lot of questions. Also, can you explain the prompt engineer, what prompt engineering is actually? So some people say it's like good writing prompts to ChatGPT. Some say it like it's something else.
It's a scam according to me. So those people who are selling their courses on the prompt thing, it's okay to you are just making their business at the end of the day. Yeah, okay, you can you can do prompt engineering courses kind of thing, but at the end of the day, if you suppose I am an ML engineer and I basically wanted to do prompt engineering, there's nothing called prompt engineering from my perspective. I can be it's a kind of a controversial statement from my side, but from a simple way, if you can understand the model, right, machine learning model, any machine learning model, you pretty much know how you want to write the prompt so that you get the answer that you want. Like I guess you can see there's a YouTuber called Varun Maurya, if you pretty much know. He basically destructured the whole chat GPT. From me you can watch those content because he basically destructuring each and every prompt. Please do not buy courses to just like you. If it is free of cost, go for that, for the prompt engineering thing. But it doesn't make a sense for me. It's like it's not the high level thing that you are thinking of. No, it's a bullshit from me. So yeah.
I don't know. I just experiment prompts with the chat GPT and I get useful responses. So it's like training the model, or it's like training the model, or it's like training myself for that to write better prompts. Like experimenting stuff we can do. Like we can do it ourselves. We don't have to rely on a course to write prompts. We are humans. Like that's my perspective.
Yeah, obviously, like that's why I'm saying everyone have a
Yeah.
different perspective. It just like people just make a whole hype about. Yeah, ChatGPT is pretty much great. I'm not saying it's bad. Obviously, it's so much loved by developers around the world. But I'm just saying, please do not rely on those things. Like, okay, prompt engineering just is the thing, but I don't think so. You can make it again. I'm just talking about the perspective as a developer, right? I'm not
Yes.
talking about as a normal human being. If you're normal human, yeah, go for prompt engineering. If you want to build businesses out of, again, I will say do prompt engineering kind of thing when you want to build your business on top of open AI APIs. Simple as it is. If you want to do it from scratch, what is the use of it at the end of just use to build your product kind of thing? Chat GPT, nothing else. Like it doesn't matter at all. Yeah.
Yeah. So Krish has another question. Like last question, how much Mac do we need for ML? Like that's like a very basic question. That is like a
If
question
you
for starter who is like looking to
Yeah,
start in ML. Yeah.
cool. I can say your first, second year engineering maths is sufficient, and plus one to that stats, and you can say stats part, and you can yeah, statistics is pretty much good if you can do a probability and statistics part of it. So there's three things. If you can do your second year engineering mathematics, that's sufficient. You pretty much know how to do differentiation. That's a basic thing. You have to know how to differentiate what is a partial differentiation kind of thing, how to do integration kind of thing. So yeah, that's the thing majorly,
Yeah.
and that's what I can give answer to that. Yeah.
Yeah. So we have like the last question is, what things should we avoid while doing keras?
There's nothing. There's no nothing called avoid kind of thing. It's at the end of the day, Keras is TensorFlow only. If I will be more precise,
Oh God, now that
TensorFlow is built
question
on top
sounds
of it.
long.
So there's nothing to say when we say avoid kind of thing here. You can say as a developer point of view, I can give an answer to that. Like code very, you can say in a more, if you are using, if you're a Python developer, please do the indentation thing, like that's a basic error kind of thing, right, in a proper wording, do in a more, so there is nothing called avoid kind of thing. Yeah, if you ask me on the application point of view, you said something, an application related to any computer vision or NLP kind of thing, and over that period of time you are asking me around that, like how to train a model, how much data I have to put in. Yeah, that's make a sense to me, that question. But I guess this question doesn't sense to, like, while what should you can avoid, like you are using keras, it should, there is nothing to avoid in that. So yeah.
Okay, so I guess we are done with the questions. Thank you so much for taking the session. We have some appreciation from like Laughter One. He's saying big fan, sir, and he's saying that your confidence level is 100%. So thank you for taking this session. And do you want to add an ending note to your session?
Yeah, thanks for the invite, Krish and Avinash, and thank you. It's like Krish is, you are one of the best hosts I've ever had. So you're doing amazing work, bro. Keep doing it. And I will say, yeah, go for STM 4.0 as a, like, for the hackathon thing. I guess it is happening in Delhi. I'm guessing over there. So please go, people who are basically listening to us. And yeah, and thanks for basically the last. Thanks for the invite. And I will love to be, if I will in Delhi over that period, I will love to join STM for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you so much for taking the session.